Assalamualaikum and good day to Dr. Megat. So today we'll be presenting the network operating system project, which is how to create a basic web application on web server, MySQL server and Firewall server using three Centos 7 virtual machine architecture. So next we will delve into the network diagram. So for the network diagram, the network is divided into two networks, which is public network and private network. So in the firewall server, we need to use two network adapter, which is MPOS 8 and MPOS 7. For the MPOS 8, it is used to connect to the public server, which is the host PC. And for the MPOS 17, is used to connect to private server, which is web server and database server. So one way and the only way the host PC can access to the web server, to the web application that is hosted on the web server, is by going through only to the through the firewall server. So later we will configure the port forwarding so that it can allow the host PC to have access to the web application. Next, we will be looking at the addressing table. So as we can see, for all the servers, the subnets are all the same. And for the firewall server, it has two ports, which are MPOS 8 and MPOS 17, and both with different IP address and different gateways. For the network, because of firewall have two ports, which is one follow the host PC and the other follow the web server and database server.
Right. For next, I'll be going to explain about the database server. Uh, I'll go in first in database server. And for the first thing that we need to do for the database server is actually to install the MariaDB server on the server. It is a little bit slow, but we will go there. And install the MariaDB server. Okay, as you can see, it's already been installed. Click install, and after this, we're going to start the MySQL. Actually, it is MySQL server. So it called MariaDB, but let's start the MySQL. Once again, it's a bit slow, but it will go there. Okay. 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 Next is we can enter the system control, enable MariaDB. This is for to automatically launch it when the system launch. So it is already complete. Okay. Next is for our first installation. We need to secure it with a password for our root server. So the command is MySQL secure installation. So if we do that, we have to enter our current password, which is we don't have, and set the password yes. And for the root password, I'm going to enter a simple password 1, 2, 3, 4. Then remove anonymous. So I'll login. Yes. Skip. Okay. Now it's already finished installing like the final the first installation process. So next is to enter the MySQL -u root HP. This is to enter the root, and we will ask the password. The password, and there you go. We already entered the RDB, or what's it called is MySQL. And this is our control panel. So in here, to create our our web server database, first we need to type create database and the name of the database, which in this case is to do list DB. And it will say query OK. So we already create the database, and then we can see the database if we type show databases. And there we go. We have the to-do list database here. And if we want to select the database, if we want to use the database, so just we just type use the database that we want to use, which in this case is to-do list DB. And then the database change from 9 to the to-do list database. And then we need to create our table, which is just this. So first we need to create the table in whatever name we want. So the name here is task, and then we assign the task ID with integer of 11 next, and it is we set it to not null, and task we set it to varchar and not null. Status also varchar, not null. Then we can press enter. It will say query OK, confirming that we already create the table. And then next we need to alter the table, which create primary key and add the auto increment here. First, it create the primary key for the task ID, which is here. Why is it important to have a primary key? It is because primary key will set the what our database will have. And yeah, and we need to modify the task ID with auto increment, so that it can increment every time we add data. It will auto increment it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So. And we will say query OK. So it means the database already altered with our preferred altering. So if you want to see the table that have been created, we can type ratio tables, and we will show the table in the to-do list DB, which is task. And for the sorry about that. And for the if you want to see the task, we can type the ESC task, so we can see all of the table which is in the task, which is task ID, task and status, as we can as that I have been put in the database. And that's it for our database actually. We already created our database, and now we just need to put it with data. But if you want to put it with data, it will be in the web server. So right now, can see signals. Let me see that. Okay. Next, we want to configure the uh, MariaDB config, so that can it can be used remotely. So in here, we want to edit the database config under the MySQL, and we need to add another line, which is bind address. The Y0000, this is to accept all of the IP address, so we doesn't have to like specify it. And we press escape, colon, and right click, and then we go back to the MySQL. And after this, we need to grant the privilege to all the database for the root user to this percentage sign is for any user, so that any IP can be used to access the MariaDB. So yeah, it is identified by the password which is 1234, that will grant with the grant option. So it will say for okay. So it is saved and exit the database. And next, we have to add the MariaDB to the firewall, so that it can be accessed remotely from the web server. So if you want to do that, that's for there is for command, which is the firewall list. Oh, this is the to list the services. As we can see, we only have the DHCP version 6 client and SSH. So now we add the MySQL to the firewall, and add the port 3306, which MySQL use for the TCP. And then we reload the firewall, and then we paste if we type the firewall cmd services, right now the MySQL is already under the firewall. This is optional, but I recommend to do it. So to restart the MySQL or MariaDB. So the any changes that we make is applied, and refresh. So yeah, I think that's it for the database server. MySQL first, and continue to the web server. Will take a while. So Now the WebServer. Okay, now it is for the WebServer. So on the WebServer, wait a second. Once again, it is quite slow. So
the firewall has been reloaded. Next, to verify our firewall
that's you.
configuration, we open the web server.
And next is for our WebServer, we need to install the HTTPD mode SSL, MariaDB, PHP, and for the PHP, we want to have the MySQL in it. So we press here to install all of the packages. Okay, now the web server packages is already installed. So you can see it's already installed all of the required packages. So next is we want to open a terminal. This is this command is actually because I actually already made a web server myself and I zip it and now I'm downloading it to the web server because I think it is quite easier for me to because I already developed it with CSS. So if I want to paste it one by one, the CSS style, so it will take a while. So I think uh, I will just download the whole directory to the home directory, and then I will copy it to the to the wanted directory that I will make. Okay, now already there to download it. I will unzip it of the zip. That's what happened. Okay, now uh, for the HTTPD, we also have to add the HTTP and HTTPS for the HTTPD to work to the firewall. So the command is firewall CMD permanent. So sorry about that. Then it basically yeah. So the command is firewall CMD permanent and add service HTTP and add service HTTPS. So it's already added to the firewall, and now we need to reload it. Okay, it's a success. And if we see the list of services, now we can see the HTTP and HTTPS on the firewall. Okay, now we need to. I think we edit first. We edit first the config lah. I'm using gedit for easier navigation. So now I'm editing the HTTPD config, which located at etc HTTPD conf and HTTPD config, and it will open in the gedit. So right here, what we want to do is we need to change the document root directory to our desired desired custom one. So here, sorry, in here I will make a new directory later. So in here, the command group that I want to use is in the to-do list NOS, which is we need to replace this part and in this part over here. Yeah, also this part. So now we can hit the save button and we will set the HTTP config and close it. And then that's all for the configuration of the HTTPD. So now we have to make the directory for the HTTPD. So to make it, we just make directory and the name of the directory that we just specified just now. So then need to add the Selenium context type. So it is cmanage and have context, and the directory we just entered now. And after it's complete, we can restock on it. Okay. Now can as I said early in the web server, as I already download the sorry, it's already download the zip and unzip it. So what can I do now? Can go copy/out for recursive copy. Then I can say to do this star for all of the files in the to-do list on my home directory. Then we go to the we're gonna paste it to the to do this NOS and we hit enter. And if we see ls the this NOS, our all of our PHP and CSS and font and homepage all already there. So you want to see what what is in my server. So you have a add query the connection for the wait connection. Oh, oh yeah. I need to edit the connection later. So you have a query connection, delete query, the index for the homepage, the update task, and the update task node is for undoing the update task. So right now, actually the connection to the database is not completed. Actually, I forgot one thing to do, so I think I'm gonna do it now. Or I forgot it much later. Second, okay. So on those database server and the web server, we actually need to use the same duster, which is actually I need to change it to the NAT network. So yeah, I think I'm going to change it now. So for the service server also. start code. Six five. Okay. Okay, now our database server have the IP address of 192.168.66.5. So we don't want that because this is actually the DHCP. It is automatically assigned. So we want to change it to manual. So every time we open the database server or the web server, so the IP address will not change. So that uh, so that we don't have to configure it like many times. So like so this is also the database. So the database as the addressing table to put it to the 6630 to the decimal system to 5 of 2. Then the bed where I'm gonna leave it blank. See, now we going to restart it. And now the IP address is 192.166.666.30. Okay, we try it. And we're going to go to the web server. Also, we need to restart it. Now we got also the same 192.168.166.5. So this thing also the same reason we need to change it. Change it to 90 to 5 minus 0. And for the gateway, I'm gonna leave it blank. So once again, restart the connection. And then we got the IP address of 192.168.666.20. So now we continue to as I said, the connection here, the connection.php is not really complete yet because we need to edit the IP address of our database server. Database in here, right? Yeah. So we want to edit it. So stream to yes PHP. And over here, we just need to insert the IP address of our MariaDB or SQL. So oops, 192.168.666.30. So the username is root. The password is 1234. And then our database is we forgot our database target. The to-do list. Okay. To-do list. And we want to save it by pressing escape, other than right click. Okay, now how can we know that we can establish to our database via remote, which is from the web server to the database server? Actually, we can. So you must be wondering how we can confirm that our MariaDB or MySQL server, we can connect it from the web server to the database server. So we can do it like this. So we can remote access it by typing the command MySQL root fish and the IP address of the database server. 192.168.66.30 and dash, and we'll ask for password, and there you go. We are successfully remote to our database server from the web server. Here you can see this is a web server. So yeah, and we can, if you want, we can see the database. So if we type the show databases, there you go, our database of to-do list TV. And that's it. So right now, what we need to do is actually we already done for the web server. We already make the directory for the homepage. We change it from the configuration of HTTPD. So actually we can test it by opening the browser. Once again, it is a little bit slow. And yes, you can type localhost, and there you go. Actually, this is our data. This is our web server, but right now it having problem. So the database, so it is showing that have a connection problem. So I think I know how to fix this because it happened to me one time. So actually we need to chcon. I found this solution on Google. So actually we have to chcon the recursive. We need to force the type to the HTTP syscontent to the to-do list NOS directory. So it change all the security context, and then we need to set the symbol, to the HTTPD so it can connect to the network. We wait. Okay, it is completed. So hopefully it is working right now. Yeah, it is working. So it doesn't speed up the problem anymore. So right now we can add the task to our to-do list, web application. So for example, test one, and there you go. The test one complete. So we click the button, say complete, and if we want to undo, it's not complete. Okay. Now we already add the task to our to-do list application. So if you want to see the actual database in the MySQL server, you can use the remote server, and remote to our server in the web server. It's in here. Then we need to use the what this. Never mind. If you use the to this B, then we can select all the tasks. So as we can see, it's already have the task ID, task, and the status, which is the same here, the task status and the task, ID, the task, and the status. So the action actually update the status. So if we want to complete the thing and like again, and it is updated on the database. So I think it is it is it for me for the web server part.
Okay, next is for the firewall configuration. So for the firewall, we go to settings, and we need two adapters. First is a bridge adapter, and for the uh, adapter name, you specify your network adapter. And for the adapter 2 is we using network. Um, and for our firewall, we using network, NOS network. So to choose this, we must configure network. So we press OK here. Then we go to File, Preferences, and wait. So for the network, we go to networks, and as you can see here, um, you can add a new network. Um, and for the IPv4 prefix, is we're using 192.168.66.0 and prefix 24, and then we start our firewall. Okay, it's already running. Okay, it's a bit slow to start
Once
up.
again, yeah, it is a bit slow.
So first things first, we need to check the IP address. So to do that, we go to settings, wait, settings, and we check the mpost 8 IP address. So now it is 192.168.66.4, which is the automatic address. So in order to make it so that we can port forward it to 192.168.66.20, we need to change the IP address to static, because this IP address is automatic and will change from time to time. So we don't need to configure lah. So we don't need to configure from time to time lah. So we change to manual, and the IP address, which is, and then net mask is 25. And for the gateway, actually we're using the MPOS 17 IP address, because wait, okay, we paste it here first. So because it can be forwarded from the IP address of web server through the firewall and to the host IP address, so that we can use the IP address. So next is the MPOS 17. So MPOS 17, we need to set it up static also. So we copy this IP address and paste into here, and the subnet mask. And for the gateway, I leave it blank. Okay, next we need to configure the firewall. To configure the firewall, we need to go to the um, firewall configuration GUI. Make this bigger. And first things first, we need to set the configuration to permanent. Next, the default zone for MPOS 17, as we can see here, is public. So we need to change that, because the default zone, it needs to be DMZ, which is private. Click on OK. So next, you need to click on the DMZ. And go to services, and we search for HTTPS and SSH. Sorry, HTTPS and SSH. So here's HTTPS. We need to enable it. And SSH. Let me see. SSH. Okay, so here is enabled. I untick and enable back. So next we go to masquerading, and we need to enable it too. And after that, we go to port forwarding. We add a new port forward. Okay, for the port, we put in, and we take forward to another port. IP address 192.168.68. And for the port and port range, also 22 for the port forwarding for SSH. So as you can see here, and then we need to add another port forwarding. The port range for HTTPS 443. For the IP address, also 192.168. For port range is also 4. And we click OK. So after we have done this, we need to reload our firewall configuration. So we go to options, reload firewall.